I still remember this fateful month, September 2020. It's just a couple of months ago. My business had zero income. Zero income. Despite the first 3 months, I was very powerful, you know. And when I realized that, hey, shit, despite being an entrepreneur, despite being a coach, self-employed, I still let income determine my worth. That month I had zero income, I felt powerless. Oh, that's the scariest part of all.
When I hear personal power, I feel so excited, you know, because I always believe that all of us have something unique in us that we have to show the world. And so today I'm going to grill you. I'm going to find out. Okay, firstly, I want to ask Darryl, what is personal power? Define it. What exactly is it?
Okay, awesome. So I always say this, right? Personal power is there's two simple things. Number one is unique to you, right? Number two is that it comes from within. So I think vast majority of the time you will see people who are successful, right? They show that they have their I would say material gains or material wins, like nice cars, nice houses. They feel very powerful. But my question is, how long can it last you, really? And when you look at personal power, it comes from within. It's gonna last you for a lifetime. So an example of personal power will look like one of my clients is filial piety, right? As another example, it could be the need for freedom, right? A client, he's within himself has a strong need for freedom, and that's why he was able to build a build a 6-figure business within 1 year. I was surprised as well.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things that's inside us that we are unaware of, untapped, which will make us feel very, very powerful.
Do you mean personal power is more of like a pain point or like a driving force? Or is it like a unique strength? Or is it both?
Love this, okay? So the way I say this is that I have this method, it's called the powered up method, okay? So there's 3 pillars that we really want to talk about. Number one, as you know, always about the why. That's the fundamental core. And the second thing that we talk about is your values. And thirdly, your belief systems. So when I educate my clients, I will always tell them, say that your why is like your fuel. Without this why, without this fuel, your car, no matter how amazing you won't move, right? And most people think that like, I have a strong why already. Maybe your why is not strong enough, hence you're not moving, right? So, and the second thing we talk about your values, right? So in terms of your values, are you actually do you want to work with? Let me ask you, Ray. Do you want to work with someone who's abundant, or would you want to work with someone who's scarcity mindset?
100%
Right?
abundant.
100% abundant, and you realize that, hey, shit, you know, what if we can actually tap onto some amazing values that's within you, that you're operating on a very subconscious level, you're not consciously articulating it to your audience, right? So that's something that I work with them as well. And thirdly, even you have the kindest soul, the best heart, but and also with your strongest why, you know, you're helping people and all these things. If you have this empowering belief, do you believe that you'll move forward?
Probably not.
Not, right? So that's the third part, right? Which is really working on your beliefs so that you can debunk them, have it very have empowering beliefs instead. So when you combine these 3 things, okay, one thing that you can create, one thing you can derive after that is what? Your identity. So through that power up method, what I really want to give my audience at the end of every day, really, is a more empowering identity. So previously, I look at myself as the $20 workshop guy. And today, I look at myself as Darryl Breakthrough. I'm the breakthrough guy.
What you mentioned about identity, wow, that is so powerful. And that is something I wholly resonate with. Because when I was in the past unsure of what my identity was, right, the confident way that you see is like zero. Like I can be the most extroverted, I can be on stage, but if you ask me, hey Ray, what do you do? Or tell me about yourself, I immediately just I don't know what to say. Because I don't know how identity, I don't know, you know, especially when I was in university and I had a lot of 竞争 you know, like clashes in my mind, conflict in my mind, correct, inner conflict in my mind, because I knew that I wanted to do things that I could speak to people more, I could communicate with people. But in school, I was surrounded by people who did very well in academics, and I was always constantly reminded of my, in a sense, like lack of worth. But when and I realized this, right? When you don't know your identity, when you don't know what you value, you will always compare yourself with others. Have you had an experience like this?
100%, right? So I think for mine was I think I resonate with that when you talk about education system. I was not the best student. I was just having an average GPA and all these things, and I was like, you know what, screw that shit. I'm out of this race. End up, I went into sales, and I pursued that. So let's be honest, right? When you're studying, the metric was what? Your grades. When you start working, the metric is what? The income you earn.
Exactly.
And really, so at that point of time, right, I was just still blindly chasing after money. And at 1 month, when I was a salesperson, I was making 7K. I was like, wow, like it feels good, but how come it's only short lasting? Like it's only maybe for the next 3 days max. And I asked myself, shit, is this the life I want to lead? And that's how I got into coaching and you know, yada yada. I still remember this fateful month, September 2020. It's just a couple of months ago. My business had zero income. Zero income. That's despite the first 3 months, I was very powerful, you know. And when I realized that, hey shit, despite being an entrepreneur, despite being a coach, self-employed, I still let income determine my worth. That month I had zero income, I felt powerless. Oh, that's the scariest part of all. So when in the month of October, I said, fuck it, no matter what, no matter how much money I make, if I know my worth and if I know my values, if I know my belief system, I wrote here, I can be anything. I'm made for greatness. That's it. I will not let the results or the income determine my worth. Fuck it. I kid you not. Every single night after that, I slept like a baby. Every single day when I work hard, I play all out. Because I know what the hell I'm worth. What's my metric for me to be worth by my values, my beliefs, my why.
Is the importance of not letting your external circumstances define your worth. Okay?
100%.
And this is so important, especially because COVID happened last year, right? And for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of freelancers who depended on income, can imagine how much of an internal struggle that is. I mean, they'll probably go like, you know, should I continue music? Should I continue coaching? Should I continue my business? Like, what is happening, right? Like, I need money. And one of my friends whose uncle is an entrepreneur, and he owns a really like one of the biggest hedge funds in Singapore, and he owns like he lives on Sentosa Cove, and he's very, very rich lah, okay, basically he's very wealthy. Okay. He lost in 2020 alone because of COVID, he lost all his income from 2019. Okay. And he had to even like, you know, like sell certain cash out certain property in order to get cash, right? So my friend asked, you know, her uncle, she asked, are you not sad? Like you lost all your money for 2020, 2019. And then he said, no, he's just gonna pivot and make it back. Like
Powerful.
straight face, you know? So the way they talk is like monopoly money, you know. It's not that they value money, but it's just that they know that the skill set that they have to make the money in 2019, they have that same skill set to make the money again.
Exactly. They know their worth.
Exactly. They know that they can.
Correct.
So I think that knowing that deep in your heart is so important. So now the question is, Darryl, how? How do you discover your personal power, right? I mean, like that is the burning question.
So with regards to your why, your beliefs, your values, and your identity, yeah. So with regards to your why, something that I teach all my clients, right, is this thing called the PPF framework. I really believe that vast majority of the times, your why lies in your past. So I give you a simple example, Ray. Have you been to India?
No.
Yeah. So for you to actually witness or even imagine, right, a very hungry, skinny Indian little kid, right, starving for, it's kind of hard. It's kind of very difficult for you to relate. Yes. So for you to actually contribute to them, in much best interest. Let's be really honest. But if you actually gone through, let's say, okay, like some mental health condition, for you to resonate with that and to really champion that, it's easier. Yes, no?
I mean, an example is like I've been to eczema, so an eczema outbreak.
100%. 100%. That itself is the best case, right? So let's just use that for example. In the past, you experienced eczema, and in the future, you want to be a strong advocate for that. And presently, right now, you are working towards spreading the message. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm already doing that, and it's so easy to relate because I felt the pain before, and when people come to me and tell me that they have gone through the same, I'm like, yeah, I completely understand. I can tell them, I feel them, and I can even give tips if I want to.
And 100%, your why right now is to what? I want to make sure that I can share my message so that people experiencing this don't feel alone, for example. Versus when you're younger, your why was, why this happening to me? Which is more empowering, guys? Please type in the comment section below. Right?
The
I'm
questions
not
that you
ready.
ask yourself, right?
Exactly, right? So the first thing, how to find a very compelling why, a very strong why, go down, right? Go back to your past, and you really find a lot of hints there. Your past leave clues. So when it comes to values, I want to thank one of my buddy. Maybe he's here, maybe he's not. This buddy is Dylan, my best friend. So one night, I want to share with you the backstory, right? I was with my buddy Dylan, and the backstory here is that I met him through Instagram. And in 2 sessions in, I think that like shit, I fell in love with him as a person, and I really want to be with him as a friend for the longest time. And during one of our Zoom session, I actually asked him, "Hey Dylan, why are we so close? I barely know you, by the way." And he was like, "I don't know. I think we can click very well, but that's what all best friends say, yeah." And suddenly, out of the nowhere, I said, "Hey Dylan, what are your values? What are some values you and I have in common?" And we just list them down, 8 of them at least. And I'm like, no way, shit. This is the reason why we're so close. So right now, the 16 of you, I want to give you one of my best secret, right? I want you to just think of that one person that you really know that he or she will get your back. You really can click with that person super well. Write a list of common values that you and him or her, whatever, share and have in common. This set of values, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a salesperson, will be your secret criteria to find your ideal dream client. That's it. Anybody who check off 80% of these will definitely, surely love you and sign with you. That's that. It's a very simple process. I call it the best friend test. Best friend test.
Wow.
Yeah,
The best friend test.
the best friend
Okay,
test.
so
So who's your best
essentially
friend?
listing down your values, okay, and then knowing the client's values or any friend's values, and then seeing how it matches.
Correct. So literally in your mind
Oh.
right now, like for example, me and Ray. Okay, so I start thinking, what are some values that me and Ray have in common? Okay, number one, we are very direct. We are no fluff, no bullshit kind of people. Right?
100%.
Number three, we are extremely passionate. Number four, it could be we're very purposeful people. Right? Number
I
five,
think authentic and vulnerable.
exactly vulnerability.
Mm.
Right? Number six, it could be growth driven. Number seven, ambitious. Number eight, abundance. Number nine,
Mm.
impactful. You see, I can go on and on.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yes, correct. So guys, those whoever that I just listed out the common values between me and Ray, how many of you have these? Please type in the comment I have. Then you know
Yeah,
that the two
man,
of
tell
us will
us.
love you. Right? If you have them, type I have.
Okay, if you're
Yes.
ambitious, if you're driven, if you're passion driven, if you put
Abundance.
people abundant, if you put people before profits, right?
I want to talk about beliefs, right? I'm gonna give one of my
Mm.
best stuff. I have this exercise called the debunk exercise. So people, if I were to ask you right now, Ray, when in the past, right, what was one disempowering belief you had?
That I'm too young
I
and not
have that as well.
experienced,
Yeah, I
yeah,
have that as
to
well.
coach people.
Yeah, I have that as well. So then that's where we do the debunk exercise. Yeah.
Mm.
So we debunk that. So Ray, what's the truth? Was there someone who's slightly older than you and got coached by you before? So what's the truth, Ray? You get it?
Have lah, 100%. I mean, I have
Exactly.
coached someone that is like twice my age or more. I
You
never know
see
his age.
how powerful this is, right? I've coached people that's twice my age, or I have coached people all walks of life,
Mm.
versus I'm too young to coach.
Yeah.
So that's where I really do this process with all my clients, like debunk their beliefs. Because why? Why I even thought about this debunk was because when I was younger, I told myself, my belief, I swear, it was so ingrained in me. I said, I'm a scam. I tell you, that was damn dark. Because of my sales
Cause of all the
background.
sales background, yeah. Cause you have
Yeah.
all the evidence in your mind telling you that you are.
So it was very, very difficult for me to take that out. And guess why did I become abundant, by the way? It was to wash off the guilt.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was really, through a lot of this kind of internalizing there, I realized a lot myself. And that's where I really ingrained in my head that, like, I used to be a scam. Used to be. No longer. Right? I want to be abundant and I will be
Mm.
abundant. So that's how I move myself forward. So the exercise that I can share with you, all these things that I'm sharing is just about 3% of what I usually coach my clients.
Mm. Mm.
And lastly, right, that's where we talk about the identity. And I think that is extremely powerful exercise that I do with my clients. It's called the rebirth.
You rebirth and get a new identity, adopt a new identity.
Hell yes, you're right.
Okay, so basically, after finding out your why, your deep-seated why, by going back to your past and picking up the hints, of course, it's not an easy activity to do. That's why Darryl is here, and that's why we need Coach Darryl, because it's tough, right? Sometimes, sometimes I think we also bury our past a lot, so it's hard to,
Yes.
dig out those things in the past. So knowing your why from the past, understanding your values, your top values, which is so important because when you are attracting clients, you attract clients that have similar value systems as you. But if you are not sure of what your values are, then you might just want to like sell everyone, and then it's
Correct.
even worse, right? You just attract people, you just close everybody, and that's worse because they may not vibe with you, you may not be able to really have a positive influence on them, you don't get results, and then it just kills your track record. Okay. And then third thing would be, understanding your belief system, and what negative, disempowering beliefs you have. You have to really rip them apart and work with someone like Darryl to find out if these beliefs are true or is it just stories in your mind.
Yeah,
Okay, so
100%.
I think those three things that you say are so powerful, and understanding all those things, right, in a deep level will then really create a new, more empowering identity that
Hell
will
yes.
allow us to, achieve our goals and dreams. Lah. What can we do? What can entrepreneurs, millennial entrepreneurs, and millennial sales professionals do every single day, okay, as a habit, to actually remove negative limiting beliefs and remove fear and show up better and more confidently? Is there anything that you do every
Wow.
single day?
Yeah, yeah. I really like what you said at the start of this conversation. There's only three words, and this is something that I learned from Kevin Ray, right? Honor your promise. That's damn powerful. Honor your promise.
Nice.
So,
Yes.
for example, you promise yourself to be punctual today, to be disciplined today. You honor it. You only have one job. Sometimes we overthink things, we make things complicated. But what if we simplify it and listen to one rule, which is honor your promise?
Mm.
And I myself, you just think about it, right? I only have one promise, which is to complete the marathon. And why? So that I can be the best version of myself. And
Mm.
every single day, I only have one promise, which is show up and run. So it's not too complicated, actually.
That is so powerful because we talked about just now, if you break commitments to yourself, you'll be even more fearful because your brain will essentially confirm and use that commitment being broken as evidence that you can't do it. And then it
Yes.
just causes that story to slowly, grow in your mind. And the only way to stop that negative spiral from forming is to just keep doing it consistently. What has helped me a lot is actually using a physical journal. I used to be very insistent on using digital, like only digital. But of course, different people work things differently. I know Darryl
Yeah.
uses a whiteboard. You have a whiteboard and then you just put your to-do and you tick it off, right? It's so big,
Yeah.
you can't miss it. For me, I use a journal. I bring it everywhere, like in my bag. Everywhere I go, it'll be right beside me. So I have a to-do list there and I have daily habits that if I don't tick, it looks very ugly there. Like I have to tick it.
Yeah.
So that is what I do, and that has helped me. So I think that making the habit very obvious and always committing and honoring your promise, that is one takeaway. If you didn't take away anything, that's one takeaway you can take away today.
Yes.
Okay,
Honor
one
your
takeaway.
promise. Really, it's
Okay,
damn powerful.